Hey everyone, my name is Jeremy Alexander Newsom, and I want to extend a personal invitation for you to join me in this webinar where I will discuss a few tips and secrets that myself and some very close friends and clients have used to revolutionize their finances. That is one thing that we can all agree on. We want to make more money, and we deserve to make more money. Let me give you some very specific tips as a stock market professional, someone who's been involved in the markets for over 10 years. I want to give you some extra advice, some extra thoughts, non-stock market related, yet potentially life-changing. Join me in this webinar. I would love to be a part of this with you. Enjoy the experience and let's grow together. It's entirely free. Thank you for watching. You rock. Good evening. Friends, family, fans, followers from around the world. How is everyone doing on this most marvelous, majestic evening, afternoon, day, week, weekend, wherever you might be from the world and whatever time you might be listening to this? Hope you're all doing absolutely sensational. How's everyone doing on this wonderful event? We have Nathan is here, Bob is here, Jeff is here, my girl Cheryl's in the building. Cheryl, thanks for being here. Hope you're doing tremendous. Sammy, my good friend Mark. How are you doing, Mark? Mauricio, Kathy. For those in the chat pane, just type in a 2 to make sure you can hear me okay and that you can see my screen okay. You might not actually be able to see my screen. Nope, can't see my screen. Wonderful. Screen sharing is up. There we go. Want to make sure, Sean, you want to test your mic just to make sure the mic works on your end?
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
So excited.
So excited. This sounds great. Wonderful team. Well, I am very happy that we are all here. Thank you for being here. Let's simply discuss why we are here. Why would I bring you out from the warmth of your internet to be here at this particular time? I want to make a promise to you tonight. A lot of webinars you've probably been to are pie in the sky, a wealth of information, but no real content. Our promise to you is you will leave this webinar with valuable information. You will have specific steps, outlines, and paths to walk in order to double your income in the next calendar year. That is my newest goal and mission for so many clients, customers, traders, stock market enthusiasts, entrepreneurs, business owners, and just friends and people and acquaintances that I meet. That is my goal. Type in a 6 if you would love to double your income in the next calendar year. I already have a few people right here tonight who've already done that because we've already worked together. But there's a lot of 6s coming in because who doesn't want to double your income, right? That's simple. Everyone here wants to make more money. The problem is many of us are afraid of something. What are we afraid of, Sean? Why do you think we're afraid of something? What is it that we are afraid of? Let me unmute you, my man.
We are afraid of actually succeeding.
What? What are you talking? How can we be afraid of succeeding?
I think that a lot of times what is holding us back is actually the thing that we want.
Whoa, that's deep. That's very deep. Tell me more.
Everybody wants to make more money. Money makes the world go around. We buy things that make us feel a certain way. We can buy our freedom. But when we talk about the bigger picture, the bigger things that we want to obtain and reach, a lot of times what gets in the way of getting those things is our own belief and philosophy. We let that get in the way of us actually obtaining and reaching those things that are out there that we see in the future.
Wow.
We're all afraid of something.
Yeah, we are. We are. We're all afraid of something. There has to be something that's holding us back, because if we are not financially where we want to be, that has to be a formula to change that. Needs to be. So let's do this. Before we dive massively into this information, just in case there are people who don't know who's talking, let's bring that up. So here's me. Sean is going to tell you a little bit about myself, because I felt like it'd be a little bit glotitious to discuss me and only me.
This is so good. I love that we're able to do this together. And just a little bit about you. Over the past 6 years, you've built a reputation of one of the foremost pioneers in physical therapy. Physical meaning tangible money outcome. Your vigor and drive for helping communities, helping families, helping individuals grow their financial literacy, second to none. And I can attest to that, I promise. I've known you long enough that you walk the walk and talk the talk. You do that. You're able to create and launch a company called Real Life Trading, which I'm a part of that community. You did that back in November of 2014. I'm sure there's a lot of people here tonight that are part of Real Life Trading, the RL crew. This starting point's allowed you to assist and enrich tens of thousands of lives while also growing the company organically to a 7-figure business. And I will just stop and say right there that feat there right alone, that you're able to do this organically and impact lives at the same time, is something that 90+% of American business owners are not able to do, and especially be able to do that in the time frame that you've done that in. You have defied the odds, and I would just want to applaud you and commend you for that, because I think that gets skipped over a lot of times. But you have done something
Thank you, man.
that very, very few will do. So I think that you actually have the results to prove that this is possible. And you obviously live in Nashville. I live in Nashville. And your goal is you're just helping thousands of people not only find success, but true happiness, because, that's the key right there. And you give them practical tools to do this with, and the mindset pieces that will lead to long-lasting fulfillment. So it's not just a quick fix. And I think we live in a society, we want fast food wealth. We want to get rich quick right now. And I don't think there's anything wrong with getting rich quickly. But what I love that you do is you give these practical tools that the everyday man and everyday woman can utilize to create true happiness and something that will last for a long time. And so just to give everybody listening some of our background on how you and I met was at a meetup dinner with some traders years ago. And we didn't know that we actually both lived in Nashville. And my wife was actually pregnant at the time, and we went to a sushi restaurant that you picked, and it was kind of this comical, funny thing. And that dinner has forever changed my life. And I think that a lot of times that we don't think about the interactions that we have with people day to day and how that makes an impact on our lives. But that dinner has reshaped my life because I met you. And you are an amazing man. You're an amazing business owner. You are a friend of friends of friends. And you have the biggest heart in the world. And I am just honored to share this stage with you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, man. And dude, it means I very rarely, and most people do very rarely, take the moment just to let someone shower them with praise. So Sean, thank you. I want to tell everyone who that beautiful voice that you're hearing. This is Mr. Sean Bennett. And Sean and myself, as he just mentioned, we've been friends now for almost 4 years. As short as a time that is, the amount of growth that we've already had has been absolutely sensational. Sean has the hunger to make an impact. One of the things that drives Sean to be the man, husband, father, and entrepreneur that he is, he started at the age of 15 with an advertising company. I think you were in, was that middle school or high school where you were selling that advertising?
I had just transitioned into high school, and my mom worked 3 jobs, entrepreneur, raising my sister and I. And she said, "Hey, listen, I can't afford to buy you a car." And I said, "Well, that's okay. I'll start a business." I started a business at 15, made money so that I could pay cash for a car, and later on sell that company and go on to do lots of other amazing things and be surrounded by amazing people like you.
Yes, man. I mean, you can't undershadow the fact that you have built, founded, and sold multiple companies that all generate millions of dollars in annual revenue, folks. 7 figures, 2 commas, young, successful, good looking. He's writing a book called Small Stuff Matters, which speaks to doing the small things daily that compound into a life of enormous impact. Sean, you're a serving husband, caring father, purpose-driven motivator, that you're changing the world one breath at a time. So for everyone who hears the other person speaking, imagine this beautiful face. This is a wonderful human. I love spending time with him. And just want to say, Sean, thanks so much for this journey. You didn't know this, but I threw in
Look at those. Look at those.
I threw in some slides at the last second just to let you guys know we do have fun. It's not all about business and growth. We love to travel together. This is a picture of us in Germany, and obviously we're wearing our lederhosen. This is where we're building a webinar or some event right there that went on to do really well. So we love spending time together. We love traveling the world together. We've been to numerous states, cities, and countries together, traveling the world, helping people, teaching people, enriching lives. And that's what we're going to do tonight, folks. We're going to create change in someone's life tonight. This will be a revolutionary program and discussion. One of my favorite quotes, in fact, I released a quote of the week just recently about this exact quote. It's so powerful to really ruminate on this. But the world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking, which brings us into an obvious, somewhat obvious statement. The world as we have created it, meaning every one of us who is here, myself and Sean, every single beautiful soul that's listening in to this webinar at this exact moment in time, you have created a world that you presently live in. And that world is guided by your thoughts, your ideals, your beliefs, your goals, the people that you surround yourself with, the input that you put into your brain and your body and your soul. And if you want to change that, all you have to do is change your thinking. And we're going to be discussing some challenges that are in front of us every single day as it relates to growing financially. Sean, what are your thoughts on this?
Man, so good. I love that quote by Albert Einstein. What a pioneer of change, and so fitting for him to say that. So the challenge, as you say, I love the Rubik's Cube. One of my favorite movies is The Pursuit of Happiness. And I'm reminded by that Rubik's Cube because of The Pursuit of Happiness. But the biggest challenge that we're facing today is that there are so many avenues to make money and obtain wealth. So many avenues. And we're going to talk about some of those avenues tonight. But I would also say that because of those avenues, there's also a lot of noise out there. And the tough thing is how do you really parse through all of the avenues and all of the noise? Because everybody's trying to pitch you some new thing. Maybe it's an MLM, or maybe you're going to do real estate. Maybe you're going to start an online business. There's so many avenues to do this. And it's so noisy because we really want to get this thing out there, but we don't really know how to do that. So the key to that is that none of these paths work without having a guide, without having a mentor, somebody there to walk alongside you or pave the way in front of you to really help you get to where you want to go. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So we've bantered around this before, but Jeremy, do you think that the great Michael Jordan had a mentor, had a guide to help him get to where he is today and everything that he was able to do?
He had to. He had to. I know that he had a coach. He had someone that guided him, someone that gave him goals and thoughts and objectives and handed him the ball at the exact moment, at the exact time when he needed it. What about Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world? Does he have a mentor? Does he have a coach, Sean?
Absolutely. And I think that we do discount too often that these people in the spotlight, they get there on their own. And even a guy like Warren, which I was just at Berkshire Hathaway's conference last year, one of the most humbling men around, had so many great people around him to help him get to where he is today. And even the principle of compounding, he didn't create compounding.
Right.
He learned that from his
Yep.
mentors and other people around him. What makes Warren different is that he's taken action on those things, which ultimately have compounded over a lifetime to get into where he is. I think Michael Jordan, same thing. He was shooting free throws all day, every day, over and over and over. And somebody saying, don't do this, try that, do this. To ultimately get him to where he is today, we like to look at the big event, the big thing. We don't like to look at the path that it takes to get to that thing.
So true. So tell us about the paths that you've personally walked down, Sean. What are some of the things that you've tried to do to get wealthy or to achieve financial success or to achieve financial freedom, whatever you want to call it, having a lot of money so that you can do whatever you wanted to do? What are the things that you've tried?
So as we're looking at the screen here, we've got 5 big ones, 5 big pillars. We got real estate, stock market, corporate ladder, self-employment, e-commerce, the digital realm. I have done every one of those things. And I'll tell you that you can make money in every one of those things. You can become filthy rich. You can have so much money. But my question is, will you be wealthy? And I began to ask myself that question as I made money in all of those markets. From real estate, I flipped houses. I used to move houses. I would buy a plot of land. Somebody would give me a house for free. I would move it and put it on the land and fix it up and flip it. Or real estate, rental property. Obviously, the stock market, that's how you and I met. I've been in the corporate world. I worked for a large company. I've obviously started a lot of businesses and know a lot about scaling companies. I was just talking recently with somebody that I have over 50,000 hours in scaling businesses, and not just scaling them from a tiny little thing, but scaling them to tens of millions of dollars and hundreds of employees, to where I've worked myself out of companies to where I don't have to work in that company anymore. I've worked out of that company. And then obviously in the e-com space, I used to sell things on eBay and websites and so forth. So you can make money in all of those spaces. But we're going to talk about things in a little more depth tonight than just that, because I think that there's so many things that aren't talked about in those spaces that we need to discuss tonight. That everybody paints the beautiful picture, but we don't talk about the things that the problems that actually happen when we go down that road. And trust me, I have a lot of stories of things not to do in every one of those spaces. And I would love to dig into some of those things and talk about them. For instance, real estate. I know something that's super popular right now is short-term rentals, Airbnb. It's a very popular conversation in Nashville now, because now the hotel industry is fighting Airbnb short-term rental owners. The big thing was like, hey, go buy some short-term rental property and you'll make a fortune. Well, I have friends currently right now that own a bunch of Airbnb rentals that are now getting really scared, because now the government's getting involved in saying, should we regulate this, because it's sort of like a hotel and hotels don't like that competition. And I actually deal in multifamily housing. A lot of money could be made in that space. and done very well, there's a lot of risk involved in that as well, because you are dealing with different types of class housing that if you don't know that territory, then you could get into a mess really quickly. And I think especially in real estate as a whole, that if you don't know a lot about the industry or the specific thing within real estate, you could get in a mess really
Mm-hmm.
fast. I think that everybody likes to paint the picture that, man, you can make a lot of money in real estate, but you can also lose a lot of money. What do you think about that? You and I have this conversation often.
Oh,
We're part of a group that does
yeah.
real estate investing.
Yeah. I love real estate investing. The challenge is you're absolutely correct. You are in a position where you're not in a liquid market. That's why I love the stock market, because it is so liquid. It gives you so much ability to get in and out of a position. And I understand there's millionaires made every day in real estate. I understand there's millionaires made every day in the stock market. Very few people talk about the losses. You
Yeah.
do have people who put up large sums of money and their entire development gets flooded. In Nashville, that is happening right now. Three of my friends are severely in trouble with some of their developments because they're flooded right now, right? The Nashville rained for about 4 months straight every single day, right, Sean?
Mhm.
And water's everywhere, and there's a lot of people just getting absolutely crushed because some of the flooding that happened on some of these really quick flips. So yes, you need a lot of time and energy and resources, but whatever direction you choose, whatever path you choose, most of you here might be very familiar with the stock market. You might be very familiar with day trading or option selling or credit spreads or trading in IRAs or trading in 401ks. But in the same instance, we all have to have a guide to help us understand which stock do we buy, when do we buy it, how long do we hold on to it. If you're doing e-commerce, I mean, you have digital real estate, right? Buying domains, flipping domains, Amazon drop shipping, eBay sales, website creation, servers, and you have email issues, and you have CRM issues, and you have ClickFunnels, landing pages, Shopify stores, programming. Like Sean said, all of these, every single one of them is a path to wealth. The challenge and the problem is many people do not develop the proper line of thinking as it relates to any one of these exact metrics. So what Sean and I would like to do tonight is share with you the exact specific things that you can do in order to revolutionize your thinking, revolutionize your path, and therefore go down the direction that best suits you. And I want to do that by telling you a story. I want to talk to you about a gentleman who I've worked with whose name is George. Now, George and myself are very close. We are on a text message thread, me, him, and his wife, and we text pretty often. George is a friend and a client that I've worked with over the last few years. And in our very first discussion that we ever had, he said, I want to make more money so I can help more people. Type in a 1 if you feel that way. Just to make sure everyone's still here, just to make sure the connections still work. There's a lot of 1s. Everyone here wants to make more money so that we can help more people. If it's our family, if it's our friends, if it's our schoolmates, if it's our work employees, if it's our employers, if it's the people that are renting out our homes, whatever it is, we want to help people. If it's a charity, if it's a church, if it's a community, if it's a religious organization that you want to donate to. Obviously, I replied to him, hey man, that's exceptional, right? Make as much money as you can. And then I asked him, what skill do you have which can be used to create value for others? That's what I asked him. All right, man, cool. You want to make a lot of money and help people. Great. Everyone does. What skill do you have which can be used to create value for others? And there was a really long pause. He initially did not know how to answer that question. And here was the big step that George had to take. He knew what he wanted to do. He just didn't know how to do it. Many of us have thought of a brilliant idea, concept, maybe an invention, possibly a process, a procedure. Maybe for some of us here, it was a stock pick that you wanted, or a home purchase that you thought about. Maybe it was a business plan. Bottom line, every single person here, myself included, especially Sean, we've all thought of ways to make more money, but we did not do it. Type in a 2 if you've been in that situation. Sean, have you ever been in that situation before, man? You have like this brilliant idea, whatever, it just doesn't, you just don't do it. And then 5 months later, you see it's on Shark Tank or on CNBC or something.
Yeah, I feel like that is every day for me. I know you're in that boat because we have those text conversations. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating to come out to find out that 3 to 4 years down the road, man, that would have worked. That would have been the exact thing that I needed. That would have worked perfectly. Someone else goes on to make that invention, or someone else goes on to make that product, and they become a millionaire. Someone else writes that book. Someone else bought that stock. Someone else created that business. Why wasn't it you?
So good. I love some of the chat, like the video phone, right? Who would have thought it?
Yes.
I got a phone that you can actually touch the screen and check your email and do all sorts of things. And we are all full of these amazing ideas. But the key is they're just ideas. And the most important part is that we do something with that. And that's a big challenge. That's a big undertaking.
What do you do? What do you do? So Sean and I are going to tell you the exact 6 steps that George took to increasing his income. These are the same steps that Sean and I have taken at one point or another in our lives. And these are the steps that I would love each and every one of you here who is watching this webinar, I would love for you to take. Step number 1, he learned a system. We just talked about so many systems, how many systems there are. We've got to pick one. When you have all heard me at one point or another, most likely somewhere on the internet saying, the market rewards the specialist. Keep in mind, I don't necessarily mean the stock market. I mean the market. Everything out there in e-commerce, digital commerce, Moneyland 101, that market rewards the specialist. And there are countless systems, hundreds of thousands. So how do you know which ones to focus on? And how do you choose and pick a path? Sean, what's your thoughts on that? How do you pick and choose which one to go down?
What a great question. For me personally, I always looked back at the core of my purpose and who I was. And I tried as much as possible to align my purpose and who I was with that path. And I think that could be different for everybody in a different way. And the biggest takeaway in this for me, if I could just communicate this to anybody, is the key word of focus. And when you focus something, you actually take all the noise away. You narrow in. And the key is, which you've asked the question, which ones do you narrow in on? And for me, it is narrowing in on the thing that gives me life. If I could ask the question, by doing this thing or this path, am I solving the problem that will speak to my purpose and who I am? Because we've seen this in chat tonight. The biggest thing we can do is make an impact with others. We can impact someone else's lives. We can make a difference. We can be part of something bigger. And I think we have to first look inside before we look outside. That's how I've always picked the path, is I first look inside. And sometimes the inside can be real muddy and real confusing. And we're going, I don't have anything figured out right now. I am a mess. But I would also say that clear through the mess a little bit and find some clarity, and it would ultimately help you focus so that you choose the right path. What do you think about that?
I love it.
How do you know what to focus on?
And one of the answer to that question, how do you know what to focus on? At some point in time, we're here and we're discussing money. So if we want to make more money, if we want to grow ourselves financially, one of those answers, as selfishly as it might be, is to answer, what are you good at?
Ooh.
That's what helps me a lot, is asking the question, what are you good at? And George was really good at a specific skill set. That was his system. One of the really great parts of his story is after asking him for about an hour and a half, listening in, writing down skill sets and passions and things that drove him and things that made him a better person and things that made him a better husband. After writing all of those things down, I asked him pretty plain and simply, George, it sounds like you just want to help people. And he said, yes, I want to help people. And I said, if you can sum up in 60 seconds or less how you would want to help people, how would you do that? And he said, I want to help people by giving them a more direct line of organic produce. And I was like, wow, that is a very specific answer.
Very.
And that, Sean, don't you need specific answers?
You need, if you want to get specific results, you need specific answers.
Absolutely. And his answer blew me away, because this is one of my quotes, and Grant Cardone and Zig Ziglar and everyone else, the fastest way to produce cash flow is by selling something. And what George did is he sold his skills, because he had a lot of knowledge and experience, but he wasn't doing anything with it. He knew what to do, but he didn't do it. He was at a place in his life where he was financially strapped. He had no money coming in. He was worried. He was panicked. He was scared. He was afraid. And very simply, he knew that he wanted to help feed more people better food. That was pretty much his goal. And he knew agriculture. That was his system, was a skill set. He knew agriculture. So once you know something and you have a skill that you're actually good at, you can take that skill out on the open market and make money with that skill. Once he knew what he wanted to do, he reached out for help. Now, again, this is a very specific strategy, ladies and gentlemen. Number one, pick a system. And that system can be as something as basic as making wedding cakes and selling them. It could be something as basic as crocheting or knitting something and selling it on Etsy. It can be anything. It could be the stock market. It could be public speaking. It could be construction. It could be math tutoring. It could be phenomenally excelling at Microsoft Excel. Whatever that is, once you know what you're really good at, once you know what you love doing, once you know what your passion, step two is reach out for help. And the question that we need to ask at this point is, how do you reach out for help? Who do you trust And don't those people usually cost money? If you're reaching out for help, why should you ever pay anyone for money? So Sean, how do you personally reach out and ask someone to help you?
Ooh, so good. I think there are a couple ways. There is a free way and there's a paid way. In the world of marketing, they would say that there's a few different ways to market. You can pay for that traffic, you can earn that traffic, and you can own the traffic. But let's just look at paying and earning. So that's happened for two ways for me. I could pay for a business coach, pay for a mentor. I could pay for that information, or I could earn that, meaning a lot of the mentors that I've had, I don't pay for those mentors, but I earn their time and the respect because they believe in who I am. And they know that I ultimately want to take who they are and I want to extend their legacy. So it's a question of, do I want to pay for that or do I want to earn that? And I don't think it's free because time is the most valuable thing that we have. It moves by and you never get that back. The key is that for me, knowing that, I then spend my money on the investment for me, myself. Now, some people would think that that investment would be maybe a nice house or a car, or it's these things. But these things don't really bring true happiness. There's just too many studies that say that true happiness doesn't come from the things that you buy, but it's who you are and who you're around and the community that you're around. So for me, I want to be around people who are making a positive impact in my life. So I would spend my time and my money on people who fulfill on that, not necessarily a job or clothes or house, but it is really about spending time on myself and my money on myself. And so that's been my promise to somebody that's mentored me. Like my current mentor is very, very wealthy. And I said, hey, I really would like for you to mentor me because I want to take all that you've been able to do and I want to carry that legacy into another generation. Can I have a piece of your time, which I know is the most valuable thing that you have? But my promise to you is that I will take the time that you give me and I will multiply that and share that with as many people as possible. And he said yes. So I'm so honored that I get to spend time with somebody of that caliber and of that level. But there's also time that I pay for, a performance coach. And I know you do the same thing. You're doing coaching and trading. Maybe paying for a writing coach. I don't think there's anything wrong with paying for that accountability. Paying for someone to be able to invest back into me, because ultimately, remember, we are the most valuable resource that we have, ourselves and our time. And sometimes that will actually cost physical money, and it can be painful and tough to justify sometimes. But that's how I've done that personally. What about you?
Well, before you put it off to me, I got to ask you two questions.
Oh, man.
Don't BS me. Give me some actual figures.
Yes.
Last year, how much money did you spend investing in yourself? Because you use that word twice.
Yes. Well, 127.
$127.
Nope. No.
$127,000?
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Okay. That's a phenomenal number. Number two, how did you go about contacting and meeting your mentor? What was that process?
So that process was through a series of relationships. And I practiced something called A Curious Mind. So there's a book called A Curious Mind by Brian Grazer. And it talks about how curiosity is this special gift that we have by being curious. And he talked about how he ended up becoming business partners with Ron Howard in the movie business. And it was all about asking questions and learning from those people around him. So I just adopted that model years ago. And I would just ask for people who are in a different place or somebody that I could learn from. I would ask them and use his model. And I would say, can I have 15 or 20 minutes of your time? I don't want a job. I just want to learn something from you. So through those strategic meetings and relationships over the years, you will grow your network of influence and possibly grow it in a really big way with people that you never thought you would be in a room with. I've got to spend time with people that I never thought I'd be able to spend time with. You know, you see those people sometimes and you go, man, I'd love to hang out with them or do a venture with them one day. And then you end up in the room and you do a venture with them. And that is so possible. So I think step number one is get out of your comfort zone and just ask, because people are actually willing to spend time with you and give you a piece of who they are, as long as they can trust you with what they're giving you. So that's how I've been able to do that specifically with my mentors, just through relationships and saying, hey, we've been building this relationship over time. And so it wasn't a cold ask. It had been warmed up over some time. But then I said, you know, you've seen me grow and who I am, and I would love for you to invest into me, and I could be able to take your legacy into the future. What do you think about that? And
That's
it was
a
funny
really
because,
interesting proposition. Well, that's a great question.
yeah,
Great question.
because he said, you want to learn something from me? He said, man, I could learn something from you. And I said, excuse me? And he said, yeah, every time I'm around you, I'm learning something new. And I said, no way. And I never expected that answer to come out of his mouth. And my confidence just began to build, because I said, you know, who am I? And then I thought back, the best investment I have made that I could always make is in myself. I love when if you've ever flown on an airplane, the security thing and regiment that they go through when you're boarding the plane, you're getting ready to take off. And my favorite part is when she says, you know, if we get in the air and we lose cabin pressure, these scary little masks will drop down from the ceilings. And make sure that you put your mask on before you put on the mask of somebody beside you. And recently I just thought about that and I went, do we actually do that in life? Or do we try to help other people while we're dying and suffocating at the same time? And we never really get to experience the true joy and help a lot of people because we're not taking care of ourselves first. But if you can take care of you, put your mask on first, you can then help a lot of people.
I love that. I love that so much. And yeah, that's exactly what George did. So George just reached out to me via email, just like you're saying. Like we had a little bit of a relationship going. You know, he would ask me some questions, would be very courteous, and we worked together every month for an entire year. And he paid me for my time. I was going to do it for free. But he said, Jeremy, you're worth something. Your time is worth something. I have to give you something for you to take me seriously. So he paid me for my time. We worked together for a year, every single month. And what he did, and you mentioned this, Sean, is he stepped out of his comfort zone. Because when you ask people how you do anything big, you have to step out of your comfort zone. I want to break that down, that particular third step down, because I want to get very specific about how one goes about stepping out of your comfort zone. In fact, I'm going to show you, because I'm going to do something tonight that is stepping out of my comfort zone, and I will tell you about that later. Sean, what is something that you've done recently that took you out of your comfort zone, and what does it mean to get out of a comfort zone?
Ooh, really good. I recently have broken down these fears that creep in every single day in my life and tell me that nobody really wants to hear what I have to say. meaning that it stunts me from selling myself or selling something that I'm passionate about. I've done a great job with aligning myself with a lot of other people, but if it comes to something that I'm personally wanting to do, me stepping out on my own has been really, really tough. My whole life, I'm really good at just going and finding somebody else to help. But earlier this year, I went, it's time, Sean. It is time to step out of that comfort zone and do something on your own so that the world can hear the message, the story that you have. And I've begun to take some steps and step out there and say, hey, this is who I am. I feel sort of, very, very vulnerable in this state, but I have something to offer and give to the world. And I'm not hiding behind a curtain anymore. And I'm ready to do this. And my mentor said, I'm proud of you because you owe it to the people around you to give them who you are.
There
It
you
would
go.
be a disservice for you not to do that. And I went, man, how long have I been missing out?
Oh man, that's beautiful. Yes. I mean, Sammy was mentioning it in the chat pane, the stepping out of the comfort zone, the doing something. There's always something there that we could always do that we might be afraid of. For example, how many people work for themselves? Type in a 1 in the chat pane. If you're here, go ahead and throw in a 1. How many people are self-employed, work for yourself, have your own business, whatever the case is? Ready for this? How terrifying is it for you to triple how much you charge right now? Triple it. How scary is that? Is that a scary thing?
Ooh, triple. That's big.
Whoa!
Ooh.
Oh, man.
Look, like Mark is like going, hey, I have a food truck. Come on. I cannot triple my prices, Jeremy.
Yes, right? Because you're out of business if you do that. Because there's no such thing as a food truck that has really expensive prices. Right, Sean? It doesn't exist.
I don't know about that. I have paid a pricey amount for a really good taco before.
Me too. And I think the Cousins Lobster, is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dude, I spent $48 on like 2 lobster rolls.
Oh my goodness. They charged me like $8 for like a LaCroix. But I didn't have a choice. So I paid $8 for a LaCroix.
Type in a 7 if that number on the screen was scary. Just tripling how much you charge. You're like, no, I can't do that. I'm going to go out of business. I'm going to lose my customers. That is a comfort zone, ladies and gentlemen. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about right there. That is a comfort zone. You might not think that someone's going to be willing to pay you 3x because you don't feel like you're worth that. That's the thing. If you feel like you are worth it, you will receive it. That is a perfect example of a comfort zone. Could not be better described. Doing something that you don't think other people will value you for is a huge step out of your comfort zone. And what I told George when him and I were chatting is he had a goal. And at some point he discussed a goal and he said, I want to feed 1,000 people by the end of the month. And I was like, all right, well, how are you going to feed 1,000 people? Is it going to be, are they going to be homeless? Are they going to be, needy people? Someone who might need it financially? Is it going to be someone who would appreciate it? Is it going to be at a community center? And he said, anybody. I'll feed anyone at any point in time. I just want to feed more people. I want to help more people. I want to get more people their produce faster and better. And so I said, when's the last time that you took a job doing that? And his answer, Sean, was never. He had never worked in a field where he could directly help people receive food faster. So I had him take a giant step out of his comfort zone and get a job that did that. Now, a lot of you might go, Jeremy, you told someone to get a job? Absolutely, because that job aligned with what he wants to do. Sean, getting a job is not a bad thing. You work for somebody, don't you, at some point in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. I always say you can't be a great boss until you've learned to be a great employee first.
Beautiful. Absolutely. So he went out and got a job, and he works at right now. So Sean, you'll love this. Or you already know this, but everyone else, he works right now at a local grocery store. Think about that for a moment. And he started out as a clerk, checking bags and scanning groceries, and within 3 weeks was head of the produce department. And guess what he was doing? He was helping feed people produce. And he was doing it in much bigger numbers than he ever thought possible, just because he did something by stepping out of his comfort zone. Now, that's not all that he did. He also read a lot. He read many books, very good books. He read things that impacted his life. And I'm going to share with you some books on the very next slide. Sean, you read pretty often. Why?
Ooh, I have learned that we should all be learning more and teaching more. So I learn so that I can teach.
Okay.
And I think those things go hand in hand with each other. And I think you are a prime example of that as well, of not just hoarding that information for who we are, but taking in that information so that you can turn around and then go impact somebody else's life. And there are studies that actually show neurologically that we retain that information better if we teach.
Mm.
So I love learning specific information. I call it just-in-time learning. So just-in-time means that currently I'm on this path, and my next step, I'm starting to step down, but I'm learning everything I can about that step. I'm not learning everything I can about 50 steps away because I don't really know what's 50 steps away, but I know it's one step away. So I'm going to learn what I need to learn right now for that one step. But ultimately, a year down the road, I'm 50 something steps in front of everybody else behind me.
What
Because
book are you reading right now?
They're still back there, still trying to figure out what they're going to do with that. They haven't moved any, and I'm constantly moving.
What book are you reading right now?
The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. I just finished it today.
You finished it today? How do you read so many books? Because you're a husband, you're a father, you're an entrepreneur, you have multiple businesses. How the heck do you read?
So here, I have this new philosophy. You and I haven't talked about this, but this is a prime moment. Because people say this phrase, they're like, "You're so busy." And my response lately has been, "I'm actually not really busy." And they say, "What do you mean?" And I'll say, "Well, I have the same amount of time as you have in your day. The reason why I'm not busy is that I'm strategic. I choose what I do with my time. So busy is just going through life doing things. I'm not just going through life doing things. I'm actually strategic. I track all of my time in 5-minute increments every single day. And I can tell you what I did a year ago on February the 1st because I track it. I have a ledger of my time. So I'm very strategic with what I do with the time that I have because remember, it is the most valuable resource we have.
Mm.
So I have time to read those things because I am in control of my time. And I decide how much time I have to spend in learning and teaching.
I love it. I love it. And that's one of here's actually a list of books that he did read, specific books that Charles read. And he read every single one of them. I've also read every single one of them. But this is one that you told me to read right here, Sean. And it kind of discusses that, taking your time back and making it your own. Essentialism by Greg McKeown. It's a really great book. Obviously, all of you, a lot of you are probably familiar with the Jen Sincero books. This is an amazing one, Killing Sacred Cows by Garrett Gunderson. Truly wonderful, very revolutionary book. You're a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. So she's featured on this one twice. The book that Sean just mentioned is The Power of Habit. The Power of Habit. Feel free to check that one out as well. But this is exactly what George did. He started reading. He read these 6 books and forever became shifted by the thoughts that he knows. And that is going to be right around the corner. Number 5, the strategic 5th step is that he did things that he did not want to do. That's how you become successful. You're going to have to do things that you don't want to do. That is what's called discipline. Doing something that you don't want to do when you have to do it. So is that getting your license? Is that foregoing a pleasure like maybe watching TV, cutting out your input, cutting out your TV because your input will create your output? So if you're only taking in TV and social media and this stream and this information and that information, always looking at what you could have, what is it that you want to do? And it might be something as simplistic as building a budget. It could be as simple as building a budget. If you know how much money you're spending, then you have a much greater aptitude and chance of improving, decreasing, or increasing in proper specific areas. What would you think? What would you say about that, Sean? Is that something that would echo true?
I am a firm believer in that. I love it. Sammy said, cut the TV, cut the social media. Trim the fat in your life. And for some of you, that's going to be super painful, but that's probably the most important thing that I have done in the past few years is I take all of the things that are wasteful with my time, meaning I don't really get a return out of them. And I use that time and I invest it. So going back to an earlier point is that if I'm watching TV or a TV show, it is entertaining, but is that investing into myself? Is that going to create a return? And I would argue to say that it's not. I think there are some things that you can watch that will create a return, but most of mainstream television doesn't do that. So what you need to do then is you need to replace that time with investment. And I wholeheartedly agree with you with this. And if you were to take all those moments in your day and take those things and use them as investments, you will see a return so fast. Lunchtime for me is not a time to check out from life. I'm not watching Netflix on a lunch break. I am making it happen during lunch. I said the other day, after I got done during lunch, I got so much because that's my peak time in the day. And there's biohacking things that talk about what your peak time is. But I figured out my peak time of the day where I get more done in my day is during lunch. And after I conquered that time, I said to myself, I just ripped the cover off of that thing. I got so much done in that hour and a half than a lot of people get done in their whole day or whole week. Nice. And I think that can be the same thing for you. Evaluate what you're doing in a day. You may need to cut out football. I don't watch sports. You want to know why? Because it's not investing my time. And I really want it. Maybe I want to own a football team one day, but I'm not going to own that team if I'm just sitting watching it all the time. To be completely honest. Mark Cuban doesn't own the team that he owns because he just watched so much sports. He was grinding for so long making it happen. Now he has the liberty to buy the team, which he did.
Great example. I love that, man. And that's exactly what Mark is saying in the chat pane. Mark's saying, I cut my cable for this very reason. Now I have 3 to 5 hours freed up a day. 3 to 5 hours is amazing. So cutting the cable, cutting out TV, going to webinars, going to seminars, investing in yourself, all of these things are a culmination of strategy number 6. This one is my favorite of the entire night. Ladies and gentlemen, George simply changed his thoughts. Now, some of you might be thinking, that's really dumb. What does that mean? What does it mean to change your thoughts? Let me give you a wonderful example. What we have the ability to do right now, tonight, for the rest of our lives is change a generational thinking on something. The term money doesn't grow on trees. Sean, did you ever hear that when you were growing up?
About every day.
I heard it very often. Type in a 2 if you ever heard that phrase growing up. And it's not only a phrase that you heard, but it's a phrase that you have said out loud. The interesting concept, ladies and gentlemen, is that this is entirely incorrect. What's an apple to an apple farmer? It is a source of income. Grapes on a vine that can be turned into wine that can be sold. Money literally grows on trees. And if we can change a generational belief for the last 200-300 years, this is a saying that has permeated our system, our culture, our politics, our beliefs, our religious leaders. Everyone talks about money doesn't grow on trees, but ladies and gentlemen, it actually does. Not only does money grow on trees, but what is most money made of? Most money is made of paper, which comes from trees, which means trees are money. Literally revolutionizing a concept and a thought. So if we can slowly change our thoughts, change our belief systems, update our line of thinking, we can overcome certain hurdles. Earlier, I mentioned tripling your charge for anyone who's a self-employed person. Well, what if tripling is scary, but what if you did it 1.5 times? 1.5 times increase. So it's like, okay, 3 is scary, but is 1.5 possible? Maybe. Maybe we start believing it's logistically capable. Maybe we thought and think about changing our thoughts. Because for the next 70 years that I'm alive, my goal will be to change the thoughts that people have. One of those thoughts is love of money is the root of all evil. We have to dissect this phrase. We have to understand that this part right here is realistically the ability to change how you grow your tree of money, how you grow your roots, because the love of money can be the root of all evil, but it's up to you to decide how your tree grows. More money simply means and allows you to make more of an impact. That's all we get to do is change our thoughts, and we can do exactly what George did. George, just a year or two ago, was financially strained, unmotivated, uncertain. He was unsure. He wasn't super happy. He didn't have a path, a direction, a mission. He had very little pull towards greatness. And now he's one of my dearest friends. He is financially and smarter than ever, happier than ever, free, excited, fulfilled, growing, kind, generous, passionate, everything that we could possibly want to be. You are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. That's a quote by Jim Rohn. How do we get to be like George? We are at the point in time where, as I mentioned earlier, I want to do something that is totally out of my comfort zone. I'm about to step out of my comfort zone massively. I want to show you how you can surround yourself with other people who want to grow. I want to show you how you can do something fun, something exciting, something brand new, something that you maybe have never done before. This was a massive undertaking for me. I stepped out of my comfort zone in such a huge way. And I would absolutely adore each and every one of you to follow me on that journey. I want to challenge you all to step out of your comfort zone with me and come to my live event that I am creating and hosting for the first time ever, May 2019, Money Grows on Trees. This has never been a conference before because this has never been a phrase before. No one discusses this. No one talks about this. Let's go study money. Let's go study our thoughts. Let's all go do this together. The reason I'm stepping out of my comfort zone to do this is because I'm sure you all could agree that renting out a massive conference room at an all-inclusive resort is not very inexpensive. I personally spent a lot of money making this happen, and it terrified me. It scared me so much because I had to pay for something that hasn't even been done before or sold before. This is a once opportunity that I never thought would ever happen, and I had to step out of my comfort zone, and this entire webinar took days and weeks of planning. Sean, I was terrified, man, and I want each and every one of you to be at this conference with Mr. Sean Bennett, who has been presenting this entire time, and myself. And what I want to do for you is I want to reduce the cost of this event for you right now. This event, Sean, you mentioned just recently to me in a text that you paid over $5,000 for an event, and you did not get your food or your hotel stay covered. Is that correct?
That is correct. That was a week ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to come to Florida, this is an all-inclusive ticket for $995, all inclusive. It covers your stay. It covers your food. It covers your drinks, and it covers your seminar for 2 full days. From Friday, May 24th to Monday, May 27th at the Port St. Lucie Club Med Sandpiper Bay in Florida. It's going to be an absolutely revolutionary experience. So what I want each and every one of you to do is I'm going to put this link in the chat pane, and I want to save you right now 10%. I'm going to reduce the cost of your purchase by paying it personally. You all know that there's already all kinds of fixed costs in these webinars and these seminars and these live events. I'm not going to make any money off of the live event. If I'm lucky, I'm going to break even. But I truly feel that this message and this formula and this process works. So if you use this link, treesormoney.com/register, it's in the chat pane. Taxes are included. I will save you $100 right now by using the coupon code Jeremy. Capital locks, JERREMY. If you put that in there, right there, your total will come out to $895 US dollars, taxes included. All you have to do is show up to the event.
So you're telling me, telling all of us, I mean, the $995 is like a cheap vacation. I'm going to get all the training. It's pretty much for free. And now you're going to foot the bill for 10% out of your own pocket.
Yes, that is exactly correct.
You're too
I'm
kind,
gonna flip.
my friend. I would like double, triple the price as we said earlier. I would triple the price. That's got to be worth $3 or $4 grand. I know I pay that all day long. If anybody's ever been on vacation, it is not a cheap thing. And I just want to say thank you. I mean, I'm glad to be a part of the event, but that is a deal, my friend. Wow.
Yes, and this deal, ladies and gentlemen, it's as scary as it is to say, will be available for 24 hours because, and this is a true story, I had to pay for the event earlier today. So
Oh, man.
it is on my card. The cycle of my card is coming right around the corner. Regardless of how many people show up, we're going to have an absolute blast. Let me at least show you the list of speakers so that you kind of have a general idea of who we are working with. Obviously, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be on fire, lit up, 100% full energy the entire time. One of my great friends, Chris Rimbolk, is going to be there. Ian Stanley, who I've met recently. Guys, check this out. He has sold $100 million worth of products online. Would you like to learn a little bit more about how to sell $100 million worth of products online? Yeah, I'm in that boat. Ashley is an amazing, truly cerebrally beautiful human. She has been and was in the marketing director for Shark Tank. Type in a 7 if you love Shark Tank.
Whoa. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. She was the marketing director of Shark Tank. She has written a best-selling book, really wonderful book, which is called Magnetic Confidence, Attract the Results, Relationships, and the Life That You Want. She's going to do an absolute rock star presentation. And then, of course, there's your boy, the man, the myth, the legend. Sean's just going to light up the stage, light up your hearts, and tell you an immense amount of information. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is me stepping out of my comfort zone. I would absolutely love for each and every one of you all to be there because I do truly feel this event will change your life. And my goal for everyone in attendance is to double your income. I'm going to push you out of your comfort zones. I'm going to ask questions that you've never been asked before. I'm going to bring people up on stage every single time I'm on stage, and we're going to have personal breakthroughs together. It's a vacation. It's a trip. You can bring multiple people for that price. If you show up, however you want to get there, if you want to drive, if you want to take a ship, if you want to fly, ride, walk, or maybe you live in Port St. Lucie, it is going to be an amazing opportunity. Mark says, are pets welcome at the hotel? That is a great question. I actually do not know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hop over here and I'm going to type that in. And if I can't find an answer on Google, I will get back to you because that's a great question. If anyone else has any questions, I know I've taken up a lot of your time right now, and I'm very excited about all of this opportunity. Let me find out if Club Med Sandpiper Bay is dog friendly. Because we have a dog too. His name is Highland. Even though he won't personally be coming with us on the trip, we love traveling with Highland, and I can understand that question entirely, Mark. Does anyone else have any questions? Again, I will send out the link in the video. And let's see. I'm trying to figure out the answer to this question. 5 best pet-friendly hotels in Port St. Lucie. It's a perfect destination. Scroll down. I'm going to click on this. And if not, Mark, I will get back to you and let you know. Holiday Inn, Resident, Home Suite, Holiday Inn. All right. I will do this. Mark, I already know who you are. I will get back to you and let you know. If anyone has any questions, feel free to hit me up. But I, again, would absolutely just love for each and every one of you to be there. Some of you who have already signed up are already here right now. So thank you. Again, I'll include the link in the chat pane. use coupon code Jeremy, and I'm going to save you $100 for the next 24 hours. Any questions? Sean, do you have any questions for me? Anyone else have any questions while you're here?
So what's the big takeaway from the conference? What do you foresee the life change? I know you said to double my income, but what else can you expect out of this amazing event? I'm already just blown away. The other speakers that are there are going to bring the rain. As you said earlier, you are the average of the 5 people you spend your time with. So if you want to be wealthy, you want to be happy, you need to be around those people. And that weekend, you're going to be inundated with those people. So why not go have an amazing vacation and be around the people that can put you in that place and help you get to that place, guide you, as you said earlier. But what are some other things that you see that are big takeaways from that event? I know I have one or two, but I'm curious to think that you have some more as well.
Yeah, the biggest takeaway that I already know what's going to happen is however many people are there, because the space is obviously going to be limited. I would obviously implore each and every one of you sign up now. But the biggest takeaway is going to be when we're on stage, both you and I and other people, when we're on stage, we're going to have people join us on stage. I'm going to be there with the microphone, and there's going to be another person multiple times on stage with me who's obviously going to be talking with me and whoever else is there. And we're going to have an in-person discussion right then and there about their mental roadblocks, about the life-changing opportunities that they have, the skills that they have, the things that they can use right then and there, tomorrow, the next day. Everyone in attendance will have the opportunity and the possibility to come up on stage and have a one-on-one sit down with myself and discuss what's holding them back and what they're able to do to crush the next year ahead of them. So that's going to be, I think, one of my favorite parts of the entire event is having those one-on-one discussions and directly impacting those people, because I know if there's someone on stage that I can impact, everyone in the audience is going to be able to have the exact same impact and massive takeaways as well.
So good. Thank you for sharing that. I think that there are going to be people that show up and get their life transformed and meet potential other people that they may end up in business with, or who knows, like I said earlier, that you'll end up in a room with somebody and create something amazing in the life that you always dreamed of, because that one pivotal moment, that one event. I have several of those in my life, and I do want to believe that same thing is going to happen for everyone that's attending that event as well.
Absolutely correct. Yes, and that's just going to be one of the takeaways. My friend Pat said he wanted a review of the 6 steps. So Pat, these are going to be in my memory forever, my man. Number 1, learn a system. Number 2, reach out for help. Number 3, step out of your comfort zone. Number 4, read a lot. Number 5, do things that you do not want to do, which is called discipline. And number 6, change your thoughts. My friends from around the world, I'm going to leave you with this one quote. If you want to make more money, realize that money is just a thought. So if you want more money, you must simply change your thoughts. I will see you all at the event. Thank you for being here. I truly appreciate your time. Sean, thank you for everything as well. Folks from around the world, I will bid you an adieu. And until then, remember, love, live, learn. You are amazing. Goodbye.